have the difficult task to introduce the last session, but it's going to be a real pleasure to introduce Kostas Rosoglou from Yelp. I think those of you who have been to former Sydney events know Kostas as a kind of regular. But he usually talks about the legal issue, and this time we saw that it was about time for him to come and talk about the core business of Yelp. So no need to present Yelp. It's a leading local guide for everything from boutique to mechanics, merchants, restaurants, and dentists, with 142 million unique monthly users, and available in 31 countries. And Kostas has been heading the EU public policy for Yelp for about a time now. But he's also very much involved into the business itself, and he's going to drive you through the importance of ratings and review for enhancing the SMB presence. So, Kostas, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, it's a pleasure to be back, and I know that I'm separating you from the food and the wine, so just be patient. It will soon be over. I'll try to make it interesting, exciting, but still, we are at a conference, so don't expect too much. Yelp, no need to repeat what Stephanie just said. We're a 10-year-old company, and we have like over 102 million reviews. It's all about local business. The purpose of my presentation is to show how we try to serve consumers and small and medium enterprises, because that's what Yelp is about. We try to provide information to the user, to the customer, about how to find the best service in the neighborhood, but at the same time we connect the local business with the customers. So we are intermediary, we are a bridge. So I will try to give you some examples of how we try to integrate more data to help consumers, and also to give you a couple of examples of how we use our data to develop new partnerships and how to help small and medium enterprises have access to our data and what I call social analytics. As you know, reviews is a very powerful tool, and it's a new consumer empowerment tool. There's so much information in the hands of the user that they can make informed decisions, they can share information with their peers, and as you can see in the graphic, I'm Greek. So in Greece, normally we write a review when we want to complain. So when I started working for Yelp, I thought that all the reviews would be very negative. As you can see, consumers and users are quite responsible, and they share their views when they're happy and when they are unhappy. But the majority of the reviews on Yelp, they are 3, 4, and 5 stars. And what is important also for the companies, the small and medium enterprises, is like the vast majority of users go and read reviews in order to decide which service they're going to use. So to go to the first example, it's an example about how we help the life of the user. We call it lives. Lives sounds very nice. It stands for Local Inspector Value Entry Specification. So it is an open standard that we developed together with the city of San Francisco and the city of New York. And it allows municipalities to publish information from the inspection of restaurants on the business pages of Yelp. So what does it mean for the life of the user? I'm checking the map, I open the Yelp application, and I want to make sure that I get more information. It's not only reviews and ratings. So above the reviews, I can take a look at the health score of a restaurant. I can click on it and see the health score, and then get some information. For example, here you can see that there were 3 violations, and it's mainly because like the hands of the staff were not very clean, and the food contact surfaces were not very clean. So this is useful information for the user, and this is an open standard, and there are more and more municipalities and counties, both in the US and also in Europe, that actually engage with Yelp to make this information available to the user. And what is also important is like we saw that there was a study by the Los Angeles Restaurant Association that showed that the number of hospitalization due to foodborne diseases drops when users get more information to health inspection data. So it's a win-win situation. Another example is about medical data, and then we developed a partnership with ProPublica. For those of you who don't know, ProPublica is a Pulitzer Prize winner nonprofit newsroom, and we combined our data. And the idea is like to provide some healthcare statistics and consumer survey data about medical treatment establishments. So it's not only about reviews and ratings, but we allow the user to get more information about, for example, what's the average time for an emergency room? What's the level of noise in a room? Or like, even like for patients who get dialysis treatment, how often do they go back to the hospital because of treatment-related infections? And we saw that this information is available by the government bodies, but no one knows about them. So they are part of a PDF file that you need to go to the site of the minister and the service in order to find it. Good luck. But we try to make this information, provide this information in the context and make sure that the user can actually have access to this information. This is how it looks like. So it's like on the front page above the reviews, you can get more information about the healthcare establishment. And these are some statistics because we all like statistics. And this is about the average of doctor reviews on Yelp. As you can see, like 5 stars, like 40% of them. The best rated healthcare providers category is like the massage therapy, like 4.5 stars on average. To go to an example about how we use data to help like companies and small and medium enterprises improve their services and get better access to the views of the user, what I call social analytics, we developed a Yelp knowledge. So it's part of the consumer protection program and it's a partnership. So we work with partners and we allow partners to have access to the data set of Yelp. We have over 100 million reviews and over 12 years of a history of reviews. So especially for multi-location large brands, this can be very useful because they do not have only access to rates and reviews, but actually they can see the trends over time about a specific location. So they can actually adapt the strategy and even develop like programs to improve the performance of a specific location, organize trainings for the specific shop. So we try to, so far we have 3 partners, but this is a project that we launched a couple of months ago and it's growing. So we try to make sure that social analytics data becomes available to our partners. Trends, this is more like for fun. It's like, it's not like trends about consumer behavior, it's more like a Yelp trends. We have a program and what you can do on Yelp, you can play with data on Yelp. So we can look up to 3 keywords at a time for a city per category. So I was in Berlin last week. So I recently decided to go vegetarian and I was trying to see like what's the trend of vegan bio restaurants in Berlin. So you can check data back from 2006 until 2016 for the last 10 years and see the number of restaurants, vegan restaurants growing and bio is more or less the same. And this is my favorite slide because it shows, that was very interesting because as you know, we have US presidential elections and these are data from the conventions of the Republicans and the Democrats. So that we took a look at what people at the conventions were actually searching on Yelp while during the convention. And I like it because if you look at the Republican, what they were looking for is like massage, guns, and gay bars. So these were the most popular search terms during the Republican convention. Trust. Trust is key, both for the user and the small and medium enterprises. So we also have the consumer alerts program. Let's say that we see like our IT team like sees a lot of unusual traffic going to a business. We see like 10 extremely positive reviews coming from the same IP address, or we get some information from law enforcement authorities that there is like a fake company, a reputation management company who tries to write positive reviews. The moment we get informed, we put the banner on the page of the business. We call it the consumer alert, just to warn the user that there's something suspicious going on. So the user cannot actually see the reviews and the ratings. You only see this consumer alert. Because trust is key. If we do not match the offline experience of the user will never go back to Yelp. So if you go to Yelp and you see that for a hotel, the average is like 5 stars, excellent reviews, and then you go to the hotel and the hotel sucks, it means that Yelp did not do a good job. That means that there were many fake, misleading reviews on Yelp. So we have a lot of systems, control systems in place. We actually consider like 25% of all reviews to be potentially fake or misleading. So we do not recommend them simply because, as I said, like too many reviews from the same IP address, or it could be that users do not really write about their own experience, but the experience of their friends or the family, and this is something obvious. Or we see that there is only, you open an account on Yelp, you write one review and 5-star review, and then we see that your only friend on Yelp, because you can also find friends on Yelp, is like the owner of the place. So it's quite suspicious. So until we find out a bit more about you, like your review will not be recommended. But this is, the consumer alert is about serious cases and where we work with the consumer enforcement authorities. We're doing this in the US, we're doing this in Europe, trying to minimize the number of fake, misleading reviews. Something else we're doing for business is we developed a free Yelp app for business because there have been so many cases where the companies are not happy with the reviews and they come to Yelp and say, take it down, delete it. I do not agree. We cannot do that. We are an intermediary. It's not for us to decide whether a review is defamatory or not. What we do is like try to facilitate a dialogue between the business and the user. So the moment I write a review, if you have this free Yelp app, you immediately get a notification about that someone wrote a review about your business. You can immediately reply to it, publicly or private. Sometimes it's good for other users to see a public reply. Sometimes it's not. It depends on how you reply and the tone of your reply. We can also check the traffic to your business page, and it's like real-time information going to the business. So this is something that we try to make it known to the businesses and try to educate them how to use the different tools we provide them with, so in order to engage more with the customers. And of course, as Stephanie said, I've always been like talking about policy legislative issues, and I couldn't help it. For all these nice things to happen, we need a framework that allows us to do that. And when it comes to data, data is key, and then we have strict and rather prescriptive data protection rules, and there needs to be some flexibility in the implementation. There needs to be some space for the industry to work together to develop best practices. So it's important to work with the authorities, with regulatory authorities, with enforcement authorities. It's important for the industry to come together and, for example, develop best practices, how to deal with misleading reviews, how to engage with small and medium enterprises. But we also need the guidance by the authorities on how can we deal with private data, because not all data is private. How can we use privacy-enhancing technologies? How can we use pseudonymization as a security tool? Then we need like open data policies and legislation, because, for example, all this health inspection data, these are government data in Europe, and needs to be open data that platforms can actually use this data and make something useful out for the citizen, for the user. And then, of course, if something goes wrong, because it's a fast-evolving environment, and there are rules about consumer protection, privacy, competition, dominant players, abusive behaviors, there needs to be an integration between all these different areas of legislation, how the authorities actually treat this issue. Because in some countries, you might have an issue, and the same issue might fall under the competence of competition authority, consumer protection authority, privacy authority, depending on the country, and not all of them have the expertise, and it's not easy for any company to identify who to talk to and how to talk to, and also the powers of all of them are not always very clear. Thank you. I'll leave it there. And
thank you very much, Kostas. Does anyone else any question?
I have a question. You told you provide application for businesses. So, is it possible for me, like application user, if I'm a small business, to ask my customer to write a review right now after service provider?
Actually, you cannot do that through the application, because the policy of Yelp is like we do not encourage business owners to ask customers to write reviews, because we believe that an opinion should be unbiased. There are some other players who will, after you use the service, you get bombarded with emails, write a review, did you enjoy the stay in our hotel, give us a review. We do not do that. It's for, we cannot prevent it from happening, but you cannot use the Yelp application to push the customers to write a review. If they want, yes, they will write. What you do, like if, for example, I checked in on Yelp at a place, so simply checked in, the next time I go to the Yelp app on my mobile, I might see somewhere like, you had a check-in on that service, restaurant, hotel, do you want to write a review? But it's one time, if you want, you write it. You can take your time. Sometimes, like, I always write reviews when I travel in the plane, because I have more time. And then the opinion is more unbiased, because I'm not in the emotion of the moment. Maybe I did not like the restaurant, because the food was cold, but overall the service was good. So, yeah.
Any other question? Well, I'm not going to thanks very much, Kostas. It's been very, very interesting. I would have a ton of questions on the policy, but I think we will need another session to talk about that. Just one thing that I think we all have in common is this contradiction that exists between the data protection requirements and the open data and enabling better access to finance for SMBs. That we really need to struggle out. So this is one personal comment. Just a few housekeeping real quick before I let you go and get prepared for tonight. So first thing, there was a big raffle and it's been won by Andres Boost from DTG. So congratulations, Andres. You can pick up your prize at the Bing booth in the exhibition area. 6:30 in front of the hotel. Bring your tickets for the cable car. If you don't have any tickets, you're gonna have to walk there. So, and I just wanted also to thank the sponsors and our exhibitors for also making this event possible. And please, one last thing. I do not encourage any reviews, but please, please, please fill out the speakers evaluation forms, because it really helps us to shape the best event for you for next time also. And that being said, look forward to seeing you all tonight.